Good morning, my friend. Before we begin, I want to share something small from yesterday, something that didn't look like much at the time, but stayed with me long after the moment passed. I was walking home just as the sky was turning that soft golden color before sunset, the kind that makes everything feel quieter, slower, almost sacred. Up ahead, I noticed an older man standing near the curb holding two heavy grocery bags. Cars were passing, people were moving, but no one really stopped. You could tell he was trying to gather the courage to cross, but his steps were hesitant, unsure. I almost kept walking, not because I didn't care, but because I was tired and my mind was already thinking about everything waiting for me at home. Just a few more steps and I would have passed him. But something inside me paused me. It wasn't loud, it wasn't dramatic, just a gentle nudge, soft, steady, undeniable. So I turned back. I walked up to him, smiled, and asked if he'd like help crossing. His face changed instantly, not just relief, but something deeper, like he hadn't expected anyone to notice. We walked slowly together, one step at a time, across the street. The traffic seemed louder than before, the moment more fragile. When we reached the other side, he thanked me in a voice that carried more weight than the situation itself. And as I continued walking, something shifted in me. It wasn't about the act, it was about the choice. Because the truth is, that moment didn't come with applause. No one recorded it, no one posted it. But heaven saw it. And I believe with all my heart, God honors those quiet decisions, the ones no one celebrates, the ones that cost you just a little bit of comfort, a little bit of time, a little bit of self-focus. So today, as you step into this new moment, I want to encourage you. Do good, even when it feels small. Choose kindness, even when it's inconvenient. Follow that quiet whisper when it calls you to do what is right. Because nothing done in love is ever wasted, and in ways you may not see immediately, God always rewards a willing heart. One more bite. One more episode. One more scroll. One more shortcut. The words sound harmless when they pass through the mind. They don't feel like turning points. They don't feel like decisions that carry weight. They arrive quietly, almost gently, dressed in normalcy, wrapped in convenience. And that is exactly why they matter. Come into this moment slowly now. Let your breathing settle. Not forced, not controlled, just noticed. There is no rush here, no pressure to perform, no expectation to fix anything all at once. Just a quiet invitation to become aware. Because so much of life is shaped not by what feels significant, but by what feels small enough to ignore. And as you sit here, perhaps with your shoulders beginning to soften, your thoughts loosening their grip just a little, consider this gently. The direction of your life is not built in dramatic moments. It is formed in the unseen ones, the unnoticed choices, the decisions that pass by without celebration, the habits that settle in quietly. There is something deeply honest about that realization. It removes the illusion that change must always feel intense or overwhelming. Instead, it reveals something far more powerful. Transformation often begins where no one is looking. Let your awareness rest there for a moment, not in judgment, not in regret, just in truth. Because deep down, there is a desire within you that has always been there, a longing to live rightly, a quiet hope that your life reflects something pure, something aligned, something meaningful. You don't have to force that desire. It already exists. It has always existed. And yet, there are moments when that desire feels distant, moments when convenience feels easier than conviction, moments when comfort feels more appealing than obedience. And if you're honest with yourself, you've seen this pattern before, not in loud rebellion, not in dramatic decisions, but in small, subtle compromises, the kind that whisper instead of shout, the kind that sound reasonable, the kind that say, "This doesn't really matter." Let that thought settle without resistance, because awareness is not meant to shame you, it is meant to wake you up. Now, gently bring your attention to your heart, not just physically, but inwardly. There is a place within you that recognizes truth when it hears it, a place that knows something is slightly off, even if everything looks fine on the outside. That place is still speaking. It has never stopped, and often it speaks most clearly in the quiet. So stay here for a moment longer, not rushing past this, not trying to fix anything yet, just noticing. Because the journey back to alignment does not begin with pressure, it begins with awareness. And awareness leads to something deeper, responsibility. Not the heavy kind that weighs you down, but the honest kind that gently says, "My choices matter." Even the small ones, especially the small ones. There is something sacred about that realization. It means your life is not random. It means your future is not accidental. It means that every moment carries potential, even this one. Now let your breath deepen slightly, not forced, just a natural expansion, as if your body is making space for something new. Because what comes next is not about perfection. It is not about getting everything right. It is about willingness. A willingness to see clearly. A willingness to respond differently. A willingness to take one small step in the direction of truth. And that step does not have to be dramatic. It does not have to be visible to anyone else. It simply has to be real. Because the smallest step, taken with sincerity, carries more power than 100 intentions left unacted. So, as you remain here in this stillness, let this question rise within you gently. Where have small choices been shaping your path without you realizing it? No need to answer quickly, no need to search aggressively. Just allow the question to exist. Because sometimes the answer reveals itself when the heart is quiet enough to hear it. And in that quiet, something begins to shift. Not loudly, not forcefully, but steadily. A subtle reorientation, a quiet turning, a soft return. And that is where change begins. Stay here for a moment longer. Let the stillness remain unbroken, not because nothing is happening, but because something deeper is beginning to unfold within you. That gentle question we left resting in your heart, it has not disappeared. It is still there, quietly working beneath the surface, like light slowly entering a room that has been dim for a long time. And now, without forcing anything, just allow yourself to notice what begins to rise. Not with pressure, not with guilt, just with honesty. Because honesty is where healing begins. There are moments in life when you already know what is right, not because someone told you, not because rules were written somewhere, but because something inside you recognized it immediately. A quiet knowing, a subtle clarity, a whisper that says, "This is the way." And yet, even with that knowing, there are times when you hesitate, not because you want to do wrong, but because doing right costs something. It may cost time, it may cost comfort, it may cost letting go of control, it may cost facing something you would rather avoid. So instead of stepping fully into what you know is right, you pause, you adjust, you soften the edge of obedience just enough to make it feel easier. And in that moment, something very small happens, almost invisible, a quiet shift, not away from God in a dramatic way, but slightly off alignment, just enough that it feels harmless, just enough that it feels acceptable. And that is how the drift begins. Not with a loud rejection, not with a bold decision, but with a quiet compromise. Let that truth settle gently, because this is not about condemnation, this is about clarity. There is a difference between falling and slowly walking away without realizing it. And most people do not choose distance intentionally. They arrive there gradually, one small decision at a time, one moment of "it doesn't really matter" at a time, one quiet justification at a time. You have seen this before, maybe in ways so small they barely felt worth noticing, choosing distraction instead of stillness, holding on to a thought you know is not healthy, delaying something you know God has placed on your heart, avoiding a conversation that needs honesty, holding back forgiveness just a little longer. None of these feel like major turning points, but together they begin to form a pattern, and patterns shape direction. Now gently bring your awareness to this. The heart rarely drifts suddenly. It drifts slowly, softly, almost kindly, as if nothing important is being lost. But something is being lost. Not your worth, not your identity, but your sensitivity, your responsiveness, your closeness. And the longer the drift continues, the easier it becomes to justify it, because the mind is very skilled at protecting comfort. It will create reasons, it will create explanations, it will even create spiritual language to make compromise feel acceptable. It's not that serious. I've already done enough. I'll fix it later. God understands. And yes, God does understand, but understanding does not mean agreement. Let that truth land softly, because this is where many people become stuck, not in rebellion, but in reasoning, not in rejection, but in negotiation, a quiet inner dialogue that says, "I will follow, but only to a certain point. I will obey as long as it doesn't cost too much. I will trust as long as I still feel in control." And without realizing it, obedience becomes conditional. Now stay with that word for a moment. Selective obedience. It sounds harmless. It even sounds reasonable. But look deeper. Selective obedience is not true surrender. It is control wearing the appearance of faith. It is choosing which parts of truth to follow and which parts to set aside. And the danger is not always obvious, because from the outside, everything can still look right. There can still be faith, still be prayer, still be belief. But underneath, there is division, a heart that is not fully aligned, a life that is moving forward but not deeply rooted. And that division creates tension, a quiet unease, a sense that something is slightly off, even if everything looks fine. Have you ever felt that? That subtle inner friction where you know you are not far from God, but you're not fully close either. That space in between, that is where selective obedience lives. And the longer you remain there, the more normal it begins to feel, until one day, distance feels familiar, and closeness feels like something you have to fight to return to. So pause here gently. No judgment, no harshness, just truth. Because truth, when received with humility, does not push you away from God, it draws you closer. Now take a slow breath in and let it go softly. There is something important you need to remember right now. You are not stuck. You are not too far. You are not disqualified. Even if there has been drift, even if there have been compromises, you are still here, still aware, still listening. And that matters more than you realize, because awareness is the beginning of return. And return does not require a dramatic leap. It begins with something much simpler, one honest recognition, one surrendered moment, one small step back toward alignment. Not tomorrow, not when everything feels easier, but now. And that step starts with seeing clearly. So gently ask yourself again, But this time, a little deeper. Where have I been negotiating with what I already know is right? Don't rush the answer. Let it rise naturally. Because whatever comes to the surface is not there to condemn you. It is there to invite you back into alignment, back into clarity, back into the quiet strength of a heart that no longer needs to compromise. And as that awareness deepens, you will begin to feel it, not as pressure, but as invitation, a gentle pull, a quiet calling, a soft but steady voice saying, "Come back fully." And this time, you are ready to listen. Stay with that invitation. Don't rush past it. Don't try to resolve everything too quickly. Because something sacred is happening right here, not outside of you, but within you. That gentle pull you are beginning to feel, that quiet calling to come back fully, it is not pressure. It is not condemnation. It is love. A steady, patient love that has never withdrawn from you, even in the moments when you felt distant. And now, you are not being asked to perform. You are not being asked to prove anything. You are simply being invited to return, not halfway, not conditionally, but fully. Let that word settle into your heart, fully. Because partial surrender keeps you divided. It keeps one foot in trust and the other in control. It creates a tension that never truly rests. But full surrender brings peace, not because everything becomes easy, but because your heart becomes aligned. Now, gently bring your attention back to your breathing. Slow, natural, unforced. Let each breath feel like a soft release, as if you are letting go of the need to hold everything together on your own, because you were never meant to carry life alone. And the moment you begin to release control, space opens. Space for clarity, space for peace, space for God to move in ways that control never allows. There is something important to understand here. Obedience is not about restriction. It is about alignment. It is not about losing freedom. It is about stepping into the kind of life that was designed for you. A life where your choices are not driven by impulse, but guided by truth. A life where your steps are not reactive, but intentional. A life where your heart is not divided, but steady. And yet, stepping into that kind of life requires something simple, but not always easy. Surrender. Not forced surrender, not fearful surrender, but willing surrender. The kind that says, "I trust you more than I trust my own reasoning." And this is where many people hesitate, because reasoning feels safe, control feels predictable, surrender feels uncertain. But here is the deeper truth. Control gives the illusion of safety. Surrender gives the reality of peace. Let that truth rest gently within you, because right now, you're standing at a quiet turning point, not dramatic, not overwhelming, but real. You can continue as before, making small adjustments, small compromises, small negotiations, or you can take one step fully toward alignment. And that step begins with honesty. Not complicated, not overwhelming, just honest. So gently ask yourself, what is one area where I already know what is right, but I have been delaying it? Don't search for many things, just one. Because transformation rarely begins with everything at once. It begins with one clear decision, and that decision becomes a doorway. Now, stay with whatever comes to mind. Don't push it away. Don't explain it. Don't minimize it. Just see it clearly, because clarity removes confusion, And when confusion fades, courage begins to rise. Not loud courage, not dramatic courage, but quiet, steady courage. The kind that simply says, I am ready. And that readiness is enough. You don't need to feel perfect. You don't need to feel strong. You don't need to have everything figured out. You just need to be willing. Now, let your shoulders soften a little more. Let your jaw relax. Let your body release any subtle tension that has been holding. Because surrender is not only a decision of the mind, it is also a release within the body, a letting go, a softening, a yielding. And in that yielding, something shifts. Not outside first, but inside. A quiet realignment, a return to simplicity, a return to truth. Now, gently bring your awareness to this. You are not trying to become someone new. You are returning to who you were always meant to be. A heart that listens, a life that aligns, a spirit that responds. And this return does not happen all at once. It happens step by step, moment by moment, choice by choice. So right now, without pressure, without fear, just allow this simple response to rise within you. Yes. Yes to truth. Yes to alignment. Yes to obedience. Not because you are forced to, but because you are free to choose it. And that yes does not need to be loud. It does not need to be spoken out loud. It can be quiet. It can be internal. But let it be real. Because a real yes carries more power than 1,000 intentions. Now, stay here for a moment longer. Feel that decision settling within you, not as tension, but as peace. Because surrender, when it is genuine, does not create pressure. It creates relief. A quiet sense that something has been released and something better is now able to take its place. And as you sit in that awareness, there is one more truth that needs to anchor deeply within your heart. You are not walking this out alone. Every step of obedience, no matter how small, is seen. Every quiet decision to choose what is right is honored. Every moment you turn back toward God is met with grace. Not delayed grace, not reluctant grace, immediate grace. Because God is not waiting for perfection. He responds to surrender. So whatever step you are about to take, whether it feels small, whether it feels unseen, whether it feels costly, know this: it matters more than you realize. Because small obedience opens the door to deeper transformation, and deeper transformation leads to a life that no longer feels divided, but whole. Now, take one more slow breath and let it go gently, as if you are releasing the last bit of hesitation. You don't need to overthink this anymore. You don't need to delay this any longer. The moment is here, and your next step is simple. Take what you now see clearly and move toward it, even if it is small, even if it is quiet, even if no one else knows. Because heaven sees, and heaven responds. And this step, this one step, is where everything begins to change. Heavenly Father, I come before you now, not rushing, not pretending, not hiding, but simply arriving as I am. You see everything within me already, every thought I've carried, every quiet compromise I've made, every moment where I knew what was right, yet chose what was easier instead. Nothing is hidden from you, and still you welcome me. That alone humbles my heart. Right now, I release the need to appear strong, and I choose to be honest instead. There have been moments when my obedience was incomplete. moments when I followed you in visible ways, yet held back in the unseen areas. I didn't reject you, but I didn't fully surrender either. And today, I see that more clearly, not with shame, but with awareness. So I bring it all into the light. Every small compromise, every quiet justification, every place where I have negotiated with truth, I lay it before you now, not to be condemned, but to be transformed. Father, cleanse my heart gently, not with force, but with love. Remove every pattern that pulls me away from alignment with you. Soften every place within me that has grown comfortable with partial obedience. Restore within me a sensitivity to your voice, a clarity that recognizes truth without hesitation. I don't want to live divided anymore. I don't want to say I trust you with my words while holding back my actions. I don't want to follow you only when it feels convenient. I want a heart that is whole, a heart that responds fully, a life that reflects you, not only in the big moments, but in the quiet, unseen ones. So today, I surrender again. Not halfway, not conditionally, but fully. Take every part of me, the parts I am proud of and the parts I try to avoid. Take the habits I have delayed addressing. Take the areas where I have hesitated. Take the choices I keep postponing. I release them into your hands. And in their place, fill me with a new strength. Not a loud strength, but a steady one. The kind that helps me choose what is right even when no one is watching. The kind that guides my decisions when they feel small, when they feel insignificant, when they feel easy to overlook. Teach me to honor you in those moments, because I understand now those moments matter more than I realized. Father, quiet every voice within me that tries to minimize what you have made clear. Silence the thoughts that say, it's not a big deal. Remove the reasoning that keeps me comfortable in compromise. Replace it with truth, clear, steady, unmistakable truth. And when obedience feels costly, when it stretches me beyond comfort, when it asks me to let go of control, remind me that you are faithful. Remind me that your ways are higher than mine. Remind me that what I release in obedience is never lost in your hands. Give me courage, not overwhelming courage, but quiet, consistent courage. The kind that shows up in small decisions, the kind that follows through, the kind that remains steady even when no one else sees. Father, align my desires with yours so that obedience no longer feels like resistance, but like agreement, so that my heart begins to want what you already know is best. Shape my thoughts, guide my responses, direct my steps. Let my life become a reflection of trust, not just in what I say, but in how I live. And as I move forward from this moment, help me remember this truth. I am not alone. Every step I take toward you, you meet me there. Every act of obedience, you see it. Every quiet decision to choose what is right, you honor it. Even when no one else notices, you do. So I release the need for recognition. I release the desire for approval. And I choose instead to live for your presence, because your presence is enough, more than enough. Father, take these small steps of obedience and breathe new life into them. Let them grow into something deeper, something stronger, something lasting. Turn what feels small today into something that shapes my future. Lead me forward, not in perfection, but in faithfulness, step by step, choice by choice, moment by moment. And as I go into this day, let my heart remain soft. Let my spirit remain attentive. Let my life remain aligned, so that everything I do, whether seen or unseen, becomes an offering of love to you. I trust you with my life. I trust you with my future. I trust you with every step I take. And today, I choose obedience, not out of fear, but out of love. In Jesus' gracious and holy name, amen. As you slowly come out of this moment, don't rush. Let the stillness follow you. Let the awareness stay with you. Because what began here does not end here. It continues in the next decision you make, in the next moment you choose, in the next step you take. And remember this gently. Small obedience today creates powerful change tomorrow. So walk forward, not overwhelmed, not pressured, but steady, because you are closer than you think.